The following is a clip from the July 13th PipeRider Community Office Hours and demonstrates how to use the select and modified options to specify which resources to run PipeRider on. So it used to be from PipeRider 0.25, you used to have to, and you still can, specify resources by tagging them. And that's easy enough to do with a config block here. Or you can do that in the project settings in your DBT project. DBT has great documentation on how to do that. And then once tagged, you run PipeRider, run or compare, and then those resources that are tagged would be profiled and compared. From version 0.29, which is the latest version, our aim has been to improve the development experience. We've introduced the select option, and select is a command line option, and that allows you to override the requirement for PipeRider tags. So, and also specify resources just like you would when you were using DBT build and so forth. So two basic examples would be specifying a single resource to profile or compare. So here we're selecting a specific model. And the second one would be a group of resources. So for instance, the staging, all of the resources or models in the staging folder. So as I mentioned, select will override tags. So it doesn't matter what models are in the staging folder and if they've been tagged with the PipeRider tag or not. In this case, using this command, select with all of the staging models, all of the resources in that folder would be profiled or compared. It doesn't matter if they've been tagged or not. Okay, so just like DBT resource selection, you can also select resources in various combinations. So for instance, here we've got, we're passing in the modified state, staging models and resources that have been tagged or whatever tag that you like. The second one here is modified and materialized as a table. And then the last one is anything modified in the staging folder. So it's very flexible now in how you can use PipeRider to profile just what you want, really adapt it to how you want to use it and expand or focus on what you want. So the second option we added is the modified option. Now you might wonder, why do we need modified if you can already pass state to the select option? But unlike select, modified here does not override PipeRider tags. So when you run PipeRider compare and pass in the modified option, you're essentially behind the scenes, you're running PipeRider on all resources that are tagged with the PipeRider tag and that have been modified. As I mentioned, it depends on your use case, but with select and modified, we really feel that you've got the fine-grained control over how you would want to work on your project in PipeRider. So I've got some examples of how this might work in an actual project here. So let's take a look at those. So this project looks at financial contributions to political campaigning. And in this project here, we have a few models here and some downstream. And we've made some changes to this project. And specifically what we've done is added some code to the campaign transaction model, which limits the number of rows with a where clause here. And this is to limit the amount of data. You might do this when you're developing locally. You might want to limit the amount of data that you're working on. And so you use a clause like this in the model. But the interesting thing is that we've only tagged the downstream model here. So the only model in this project with a tag is the corporation contribution model. And we've only made an upstream change here to the campaign transaction model. So let's see how the new options that we've added would affect which resources PipeRider runs on given this project. So the first is the modified option here. So let's say we ran PipeRider compare with modified on this project. That would be the equivalent of running PipeRider on all tagged models that had been modified and their children. So what you can see here. And the result should be that given this project, only the corporation contribution model here should be profiled because that's the one that's tagged. And it's the child of a model that's been modified. So let's take a look at the report here. So we can see that, yeah, the corporation contribution model is here. It's listed. Let's take a look at the lineage here. And then if we go back to the report, you can see that only the corporation contribution model has been profiled. Campaign transaction, although it has been modified, it's not listed here. It's not been profiled or compared. So that resource has not been touched by PipeRider. So another example is, let's use the select option this time. And if we use the select option to specify a resource, and in this case, we're specifying the campaign transaction model, then PipeRider will only run on the specified resource, which is this model here. And as I mentioned, it overrides tags. So even though this model is not tagged, using select will override this. So if we take a look at the report for this one, we can see that, yep, campaign transaction is the only profiled resource in this project. And we can see the difference here. Well, I've actually have the report here. So we can see that the number of rows based on the change we made went from 1.1 million to 93,000. All right. So the last example I want to show is passing in state to the select option. So here we're doing PipeRider compare, and we're passing in the state modified plus. So this should include the model that was actually modified, plus any downstream impact. So the children of this model that were impacted. And yeah, we can see in the report here, I'll pull this up, that actually both the model, the campaign transaction model, and downstream corporate contribution model were profiled here. So both of these models are profiled. And we can see that both of them are listed here in the changes lineage view. So yeah, it's a great way to customize and control how PipeRider works in your project.